James Arthur Lovell Jr. He was born March 25th, 1928, in Cleveland, Ohio, during the tail end of the Great Depression. His father passed away when he was young, and his mother raised him in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, long before he wore a flight suit. Lovell, he was a boy with a workbench cluttered with cardboard tubes, balsa wood, and chemicals for homemade rocket fuel. He tested his early designs in a nearby field, more than once sending neighbors rockets through their windows. Those experiments earned him a spot in a Boy Scouts rocketry program, a rare opportunity in the 1940s when spaceflight was still science fiction. Later at the United States Naval Academy, where he graduated in 1952, Lovell joined a small campus rocket society. He and other midshipmen designed and launched solid fuel rockets. It was an activity that had no military funding and very little public awareness, but it prepared him for the engineering mindset that spaceflight was going to demand. After earning his commission, Lovell trained as a Navy test pilot. It was the kind of job where you strap into a plane that's never been flown before, take it into the air, and find out what works and what doesn't. At the Naval Air Test Center in Maryland, he flew aircraft like the F-4 Phantom II and the F-8 Crusader, both capable of supersonic flight. His precision and calm under pressure, it caught NASA's attention. And in 1962, when he was chosen as one of 9 astronauts in the agency's second group, history was about to be made. His flight record grew quickly. In 1965, he flew Gemini 7 with Frank Borman. He spent almost 14 days in orbit in a cabin about the size of a small car, 55 cubic feet, 1.56 cubic meters. A year later, he commanded Gemini 12 with Buzz Aldrin, finishing the work on how to walk and work outside a spacecraft. In 1968, he flew as command module pilot on Apollo 8, the very first mission to leave Earth's orbit and circle the moon. That trip was nearly 240,000 miles. That's 386,000 kilometers each way. And he became one of the first 3 men to see the far side of the moon and look back at Earth, hanging in the black. Apollo 13. It was set to be his last flight and his chance to walk the moon. On April 11th, 1970, the spacecraft left Kennedy Space Center. 2 days later, 200,000 miles, 322,000 kilometers from home, an oxygen tank in the service module exploded. The lights went out, power failed, and the cabin temperature dropped to 38 degrees Fahrenheit, 3 degrees Celsius. Drinking water was cut to 6 ounces, 177 milliliters per man per day. Carbon dioxide began to build up until the crew, working with Mission Control, built a fix from cardboard, tape, and spare parts. Lovell's voice to Houston, "We have a problem." It was not for drama. It was the sound of a commander making sure the right information reached the ground without panic. He worked with Mission Control to shut down the command module, conserve power, and use the lunar module's engine to swing around the moon and head back home. On April 17th, after traveling more than 500,000 miles, 804,000 kilometers, all the way through space, Apollo 13 splashed down in the South Pacific, only 4 miles or 6.4 kilometers from the recovery ship USS Iwo Jima. Lovell retired from the Navy as a captain. He went into business. He co-owned a restaurant in Illinois called Lovell's of Lake Forest. He co-wrote Lost Moon with Jeffrey Kluger, the full account of Apollo 13 that later became the 1995 film Apollo 13, where Tom Hanks played him. And the real Jim Lovell made a brief appearance as the recovery ship's captain. Over his career, he logged more than 7,000 hours of flight time, including 715 in space. His honors include the Congressional Space Medal of Honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and multiple NASA Distinguished Service Medals. He passed away August 8th, 2025, at the age of 96. His life covering the span from propeller planes to spacecraft circling the moon. From those early rockets in a Milwaukee field to bringing Apollo 13 home against all odds. Lovell's life taught us that even in the darkest, most uncertain hours, preparation and steady resolve, it can light the way home. These are Interesting Things with JC.